Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome again to Scoreboard on ACTN. It's that time again. It's Tuesday evening, 8 o'clock, where we come into your home and we just talk sports. Big up to all my supporters and everybody outside there who's viewing this program. And again, before I start, COVID's still around people, right? Let's be careful. We want to open back up. The only way we could open back up is we have to do what is right. So let's try and do the right things and let's flatten the curve, as they say. But we want to get back with life. We want to get back normal. We know we're going to be normal in normal, but we just want to get back normal. Anyway, I know it's a long time you see the crew. Tonight we're going to touch a bit about on the Olympics. It hasn't started yet, but it has so much little things done start to surface already. A couple athletes were already tested positive for the corona. And then who's smoking weed and who carry on, and it's a whole set of thing. No better person to deal with this subject than Dennis Allen, CEO, Rep 868. Dennis?
What's up, man? We talked about this last time, George.
Yeah.
You have to play my song. Please.
Hey, you know Giles? You know Giles?
Joker Smoker.
You know Giles?
Run the track there.
Joker Smoker. Joker Smoker. Summer Joker Smoker. Joker Smoker. Joker Smoker.
We can't support the Joker Smokers.
Right. I feel you got to deal with Giles. And the commissioner of Redman,
Yes,
Christopher Gill.
I like that. I'm taking over that.
Yeah.
The commissioner of Red Men.
Yeah. You all thought the commissioner was Gary Griffith, eh?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, that's
Hey, gentlemen, it's a pleasure.
Man?
It's a long
Always,
time.
Always. Yeah. Nice to be in
Always.
Southland.
Yeah.
At the
George,
tippy
I hope
top of
everything is
the
going
hill.
good.
Yeah.
Top of the
You understand? Well,
And we social distancing.
yes. You see,
I can still smell Chris,
yeah.
but that's
Sweet
okay.
day.
Well,
Sugar is go a long way. Red Men sweet. Just remember that.
Woo. Olympics in what, 20 days or something like that? 20,
Yes,
less than a month, you know?
less than a month, and so much of things have happened so far. They banned the two young runners from is it Namibia, and
Testosterone levels too high.
yes, but they're allowing a
Also, black levels too high.
Yeah, but they are allowing a transgender
Man, a former man.
something half and half
In weightlifting.
In weightlifting from New Zealand, right? Yeah. And then we give, although we know she wasn't going to beat Shellyan, but
Well, they still had to run the race.
yeah,
though.
but she gone and smoke weed, which I find was kind of in poor taste because
So hold on. I don't feel she was beating Shellyan. That's
Yeah.
just me.
Yeah.
Chris Gillen feels so.
Right.
I feel she was coming a good second to Shellyan. In fact, third, because I feel Aileen was beating her as well.
right.
But the smoking weed.
Where we want to start? I mean, we got to touch
But
base on
let's
that.
start there since we don't start there.
Right, because no, first of all, right, how I just look at things is that I'm not an amateur, I'm a professional.
Right.
So I'm supposed to have a group of people around me, right?
Right.
You should.
Managers, PR, this one and that one.
Coach.
Coach and everybody. But then if I'm in a camp and my head coach is a druggie, what do you expect? You remember, what you name again?
Dennis Mitchell.
Dennis Mitchell. Right? And come on, your mother died, you are not the first athlete. I know athletes who parents died and went out on the field. And to honor their parent,
Did the right thing.
they did a great performance.
Who's that guy who cuffed down Tyson and had him outing? He didn't have a dad, the Buster Douglas.
Buster Douglas.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't die like a week
His
before.
mom.
Something.
Right.
There you go. So
I think it was
And
his
look,
mom.
and look what he accomplished.
I can't tell you how to grieve,
Yeah, exactly.
but I can say this, right? If an elite level athlete, right? All the Americans talking about she's number one in the world. She's not. She's in the top 6 in the world. All right, great. But you know what? If you're an elite level athlete and you go into the street corner to medicate, then you gotta be kidding.
Exactly.
Look at Ferrari. Ferrari has a proud tradition of Shell lubricants,
Right.
right? You feel like going and be like, Boy, I need some, boy. Let me go by the corner and see what I have there, boy. Let me go put in some. I need some oil, boy. No, it doesn't work like that.
Because I was disappointed in the fact that you have an opportunity. Okay. The race ain't run yet, so we don't know who will not win. Right?
Shelly-Ann.
No, we assume that, right?
Shelly-Ann.
But on the day.
Shelly-Ann.
Yes, but on the day,
You still
something
had a
could have
run.
happened with Shelly-Ann,
Right.
a bad start, a pull muscle,
forget to
or
tie a
something,
shoelace, something.
right?
Right.
You have the opportunity, which is to go into the Olympics. People just live their whole lifetime in sports and never make an Olympics, right? And that is what you go and do.
Yeah, and I
Look,
think...
you see, just before we even get into that, right? Is there a problem with marijuana? I don't have a problem with marijuana.
No,
You know what, though?
Yeah.
We looking at this particular sport, this particular event, and we making assumptions. But Chris, you're a cyclist. Would you be going in a race, let's say a mountain stage in the Tour de France?
No.
High?
No.
Why? Why wouldn't you?
Because I want to win. And
Not
I
just
want to have every part of my faculty there and
You
available.
could win and then go on a high.
Something like that could work.
Let's say this. If you are at a village games level and you want to self-medicate because you have anxiety, you have trauma, you have this, that, the other, hey, no problem.
Fine.
But we're not talking about the village level. We're talking about the top elite athlete, a pro with a 6 or 7 figure contract with one of the best, but the best sports brand in the world. So what you're trying to say is that you can now ignore all of those things and go by Biff on the corner and you call your plug and you get your hookup.
Yeah.
How high do you need to be to get over your mom? I don't know, right? My mom is dead. My dad is dead. And when my dad died, I buy a bottle of rum and we went up by the thing.
But
you know what? We went up and Kivan and Mandy, a whole crew of us, we drink. And I didn't drink the whole bottle of rum, though. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is I understand. I empathize. My point is, though, I am not an elite level athlete.
Yeah.
I was never ranked in the top 5 or 10 in the world in anything,
belliness.
except
Big belliness.
being a red man, along with my number 1 co-host here.
The only comment I'd make, I think there's so many other things we want to talk about besides Sha'Carri Richardson is, I've looked at a lot of the Facebook posts, and for all the people who I'm talking to you all now who think you all know, the reality of it is the way the U.S. trials are set up, it's a 1-2-3 system. 1-2-3 across the line is who qualifies for the event at the Olympics, full stop. The person who finished 4th in that run, regardless of what, is considered the next alternative, right? If there's any issues with any of the first 3. The reality for Sha'Carri Richardson is testing positive means, based on the rules established prior to her running, is that she is now disqualified from that result. In no circumstance can you see USA Athletics saying, we're going to let Sha'Carri Richardson run still, and the person who finished 4th not suing them. So if you think that we should just let her go, it's just marijuana, there's way more behind it than that. Way, way more. I have seen with my own 2 eyes and been part of the system where athletes who qualified for the Olympics were then disbarred or disqualified, and the legal process that USA Cycling or USA Olympic Committee, USA Athletics got involved with, and the fees that they spent to defend their position went on and racked up into the close to $20 million US already. So trust me when I tell you, she banned and she ain't going to Olympics unless she's going to run the relay. End of story.
Not just that, I want to bookend what he just said. 9 women made the qualifying standard for the USA. So it's not like if they have a shortage of top quality sprinters, right? So the fact is, as Chris said, 1, 2, 3 are the first choice for the individual event. 4 is the first alternate, and 5 and 6, or whoever the coach decides they want to put in, are going to be the other 2 for the relay. You have up to 6 for the relay, right? So this idea that she deserves a spot, no. The way the rules are set up, the USA trials are their final selection. Her results are voided. Means it's almost like if she didn't even appear there. So everything up until that point is irrelevant. These are not my rules. These are their rules. But you know what? Because it's their athlete, lifestyle choices aside from everything, it's their athlete and they want to put this girl on their Wheaties box, etc., etc., etc. They don't get you the winner already, you know. And that I have a problem with. The USA track and field fans need to understand that this is a world. And the reason WADA has those substances on their list is because they govern all sports. Just the same way you don't want a cyclist in the Tour de France high. Look, McNulty, just looking around his shoulder to see what happened, he fall off in the bush, and he wasn't high. Could you imagine if McNulty was higher than a giraffe and a blimp? What would have happened? He would have been all over the place. So the fact is, the WADA system might have its flaws, might have its blind spots, but it certainly does not just see stars and stripes as their priority. Your American athlete, we had the same situation with just St. Philip not very long ago. We talked about it. And like I said at that point, I am a cannabis advocate. I 100% believe that cannabis should be legal for any use for any adult. Meaning, medical grade, pharmaceutical grade, you could go and you could buy it and you know exactly how much the dose is and you know exactly how much THC in that. It is not going to be, hey, Biff, what you have, boy? What you seeing it hard?
It's sticky?
It's smoking? It's sticky? Yeah, boy. No, it's not that at all. Right?
Meet me by the corner.
Yeah, what's this in, but you're dropping off? We ain't looking about that. We're talking about pharmacy grade THC products, and it's not going to. What are you doing smoking anyway? You think you running 100 meters is not aerobic? It's not
anaerobic.
It's an anaerobic event.
More or less.
You don't have to worry about your lungs. But you know what? You had a warm up. You had to train to get that. It's like Usain said. He trains 1,000 days to run 9 seconds.
The problem is, too, is that for you to just, your mother died and you just go and smoke, that means you're smoking all the time?
Well, that's the other thing. But anyhow, I didn't get all of the specifics in the chemistry, but I doubt that is one joint got her to the point where she was over the threshold, because the threshold has been increased since January 2020. So right about now, like I said, I have no problem with people smoking. I don't smoke myself. I choose not to smoke. But I have no problem with using edibles. I have no problem with an adult choosing to self-medicate with cannabis. However, I am not an Olympian.
That makes the difference.
That makes a difference. You could tell me, George, if your job had a policy, you cannot smoke marijuana. If we test you, you will get fired. You go and smoke?
No,
George gonna be drinking real coconut water. No, I'm just saying. The point of the matter is, if that's the policy, that's the policy. And they fire, they fire, they have nothing to get.
Forget Shakari. She ain't going. Next.
Shakira, hard luck here.
Shakira, the team.
No, the first thing I want to talk about is the Trinidad team.
Let me give you the list.
Hold on.
How much athletes going?
Me and no, Ato say no medals.
30 athletes going?
Ato said no medals in track and field.
Yes.
All right, no medals in track and field. Is he right?
He can't offer cycling.
Tay, is he right?
No, listen to me. How much athletes going?
All right, I'll give you the list of the athletes.
30 athletes?
Yeah.
And how much officials going?
About 35.
Enough. Listen, hold on. I can't coach. Listen, I am in the hot sun next to these people every single weekend. George, we know what it takes. The athlete on the pitch, on the field, on the court, on the track, whatever, they have to have support. They have to. So I have no problem. That is the system. That is their right. No athlete anywhere in the world could just run or throw or jump or anything by themselves. This event takes real logistics, real planning and management. So obviously, to get the best possible chance of a medal or a podium or a personal best or a world lead or whatever it is, we need to have support for it.
But even if you break it down like, okay, athletes, let's say athletes, you have, how many different disciplines going?
There's athletics, boxing, cycling, judo, rowing, sailing, and swimming. Those are the sports that are going.
Before you go there, though, in athletics, right, we have sprinting,
I'll give you the team.
relays.
We have
Hold on. We have sprints, relays, throws, jumps.
we have 2 long jumpers and 1 javelin.
A woman's long jump and a men's long jump.
Well, I
We
see
have a
Tyra Gittins
javelin.
is going as a long jumper,
Right.
and we
That's
have
our next thing we go.
and Dwele Wright is going as a long jumper, and then Keyshawn is going as a javelin. Those are the only
So
field,
each
field
one
events.
of those disciplines requires a specialist coach in that discipline. Let's get that clear first.
Okay. So you agree with the
100%.
Okay, all right.
If you could
I-
if you could have sent a coach for Tyra, and we could have sent a coach
Yeah.
for Andwele, and we could have sent
The only weird omission is, all right, so boxing has 1 boxer and a manager and a coach, and I always find sometimes you don't need a manager and a coach if one of them can manage as well as coach. But that's I think, and in cycling, I found that we saw the coach that's going is Alejandro Gonzalez Tablas, who is Tennille Campbell's coach at Bike Exchange.
Okay.
And he was the former coach at World Cycling Center. So he's a road coach, and he's a former road professional cyclist, not at a high level, but he was the coach there, and he's the former thing. So I'm not seeing any stated coach for
track.
for the sprinters, which I personally think, in terms of medal potential, have way better chance of medaling than Tennille. And also, the way the event is structured, you know, it's not one-off. You have to go, you have rounds, every time you get on the track, you possibly are facing a different opponent and a different situation, so it requires more coaching. So I'm curious as to whether the name was just omitted, or is it that they just decided to not go with a track coach, which I would find very, very, I just can't comprehend that.
On certain levels of what Chris just said, I have to back him up there. I don't know that Tennille on any given day should be counted out for a podium, because the athlete that I know is fueled by bad mind and has enough talent to do it.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that never count out anybody in a TTO kit, because trust me, they're doing it for way beyond what that average person would even understand, what that passion and commitment and drive. So I will never count out anybody in a TTO kit. But what I will say is that the logistics of being in a track meet for cyclists, and we have 2, Sprint and Karen, one of them being the world record holder, I think that is a glaring omission, if that is in fact what happened there. Right? I know the contingent, the manager, the mechanic, I know they are very capable and experienced people.
Yeah.
However, I personally would have sent the guy's coach, who they coach, they are
Currently with, who's Craig McLean from Scotland, yeah.
from the UCI program.
From the World Cycling
All right,
Center.
gentlemen, here what now? Let's take our first break, right? When we come back, let's try and break down the Trinidad and Tobago squad.
Well, we here, you know, I'm
and
gonna get some
see-
tea.
And see if
Drink some
by
tea.
chances we could prove Atto wrong,
No.
right?
Because, but, anyhow, there you
Viewers,
go.
we'll be right back after the short break. Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to Scoreboard on ACTN. And we have with us here Chris and Dennis. And we're trying to analyze and break down the TTO team that's going to the Olympics. There are so many things that makes this Olympics different, because I don't think that most of our athletes had the proper training or schedule with all that went on. But let's try and break down and see if and where we might be able to get a medal in 2020.
But it's a good thing you, and before we get in, and we talk about that preparation. One of the disadvantages that our athletes are going to face is the fact that other sporting bodies have better systems in place to deal, or have instituted better systems since COVID to deal with the scenario that more or less every athlete faced, which was there's COVID.
Yeah.
Your nation basically is going to go in a semi or shutdown kind of state, and we need to figure out a way to get you or keep you working. or keep you in line and in the area where you can continue to work so that you will be performing at your best. It is clear that we didn't do that, and we are paying the price for it. We didn't do it. We weren't vigilant enough. We weren't serious enough. I think, and with all due respect to sport, I think the Brian Lewis made the point that we needed to do it, but maybe the sporting bodies didn't put forward a strong enough case. So in countries like Jamaica, or even in countries like St. Vincent and Grenada, they put forward cases for their athletes. Went to the, continually made pleas to their government, their Ministry of Health, as to why, and set up systems so that it could be done. And that's right here in our region. So I'm a little disappointed in how we approached it, and I think our athletes have definitely suffered for it.
A lot of what is what is being discussed. I think the most glaring example was the fact that we had 2 Olympic trials for track and field, and our athletes performed poorly there.
Yeah, yeah.
And there were reasons for that. First of all, the local-based athletes have been isolated. They've not had the opportunities to train or compete or to test themselves. And then on top of that, to add insult to injury, if you want to use that term, they weren't allowed to travel abroad. So Jareem got out. The first time the window opened, he went out. He got back out of here. I believe Marshall Cedeno also was here. He got out as well. A couple of the other people were based abroad because they're college students. So no local-based athlete made it onto the list, which is a difficult pill to swallow, especially when you consider the amount of talent that we had here still. Chief amongst them would have been athletes like the Farina brothers, the twins. And it has a lot of knock-on and spin-off effects. We were talking about this since the start of 2020. We spoke about this ad nauseum. We cannot add anything more to it. There was a big gap in the policy leadership in sports in the country, from government to NSO to even athletes themselves. Because I was at events where you would see athletes congregating, they talking, they didn't accept it early enough. And it's like you said in your intro to this show, we're still in the middle of this thing. The peak, the curve is peaking. We're not on no downward side of the peak. We're on the upside of this thing. And these infections are a curve. It's like a bell. So if we're still on the up, that means we ain't flattened off yet. We ain't top on the peak yet. So am I going to be able to second guess the public health policy? The government of this country needs to keep Trinidadians and Tobagonians alive, and I think they've done as much as they could. Would I have done it differently? I don't know. I still haven't seen data that said anybody in an outdoor sporting competition was a super spreader. I don't see that data. So would I have done it differently? Yeah. Since I small, Chris, if you're sick, you go and take a sea bath. You can't go and take a sea bath.
Yeah.
You understand?
Especially at the cold.
So I have problems with some of the public health policy, but at the end of the day, we gave a certain political party the mandate to run this country. That's who we have, and that's what we had to take. And this is public health policy trumping and overriding everything else. We are an island, and we should have been in a bubble. We know why we're not. That's a national security health policy that affected our health policy. At the end of the day, Trinidadians and Tobagonians didn't run fast enough, didn't throw hard enough, and didn't jump high enough, local based. But then we have a whole cadre of athletes who are abroad and who did really, really well. Young Keon Benjamin especially, I have to put my hat out to this guy. I know he had a real tough time getting in and settling in to Minnesota. They canceled his program. They said that the men's program in Minnesota was dead. He had to face that uncertainty, and look at where he is right now. He's an Olympian. Congrats to Keon.
Congrats.
I want to also say congrats to Isla Stanislaus. Did a really well this year. Of course, there are other people on this track. I speak to almost everybody on this track team. Almost every week I would speak to these people. Asa Guevara, Che Lara, these are people who, my pause raising, I'm so proud of their accomplishment. Is it fair to say, well, we ain't had no 100-meter runner for the first time in a long time? Listen, this is what we have, and they're going to rep 868, TTO. Are we going to say, like Atto, we have no chance? I will never say we have no chance. Statistically, it's going to be difficult. But can I write off? Let me call some names here.
Begin at the top.
Simoy Hackett, Khalifa Saint
No, begin at the top. Michelle
Lee, and Kellyanne Baptiste.
I think Michelle Lee will make the 100 final.
Isla Stanislaus. You think I could write off those people?
Because
that is
you see,
no,
because
I
you see
cannot.
on the day of an event, any number of things could come
Right.
and hinder the favorite, you know.
Yes.
That's one.
Right.
But you see, being a coach, I always tell people, if hope is your strategy, failure is definitely in your corner. Hope is not your strategy.
Yeah.
So I always say, yes, anything can happen. But if you didn't prepare at that level and you are not at that level, that's not really what's going to happen. Chances are our team, because they probably didn't get enough time to prepare, probably many other factors like we have discussed, I think if things were different, we would have had a team that was better prepared and had better chance.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's so yes, there's some blame to be had by probably everybody, to be, quite honestly, but that's where we at. Is Atto's statement true, or is he being rough, or is he being unkind? Probably not. He's probably not. He's just looking at it as, sadly, as whether I like Atto or don't like her. I just think he's just being very objective of what he is seeing. And what he is seeing tells him, no, we can't win a medal.
But I would say yes, because, okay, the last couple events, I've seen an improvement with Keyshawn,
Yes.
right? So I feel on a given day, 1, 2, 3, I could see Keyshawn inside of it.
I think Keyshawn will have to throw this Olympics, he will have to throw a 90.
Yeah,
But he's done that already.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying. I'm
He's
saying.
done it.
I'm saying in this Olympics, he'll have to throw a 90 to get any medals. If he does
my
that,
question to anybody,
But
including
did-
Atto,
did-
hold on,
yeah.
just now. My
It's
question to
definitely he
anybody,
can.
you say that Keyshawn Walcott cannot throw 90?
No, but I wouldn't go there. When he
No,
won,
I wouldn't go there either.
when
He done it before.
When he won the first gold medal,
he threw
Right.
84
right?
and change.
I am sure if you had asked anybody
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they're getting a gold medal in javelin, they would have said no.
There
I agree.
You go. Right?
They would have said no, right? When he went back and when he won the bronze, right? Again, looking at the normal trainer athlete, you're saying, nah, boy, he get a gold medal. I ain't seen him coming there again.
Listen,
You're wrong.
for the 100 meters, you had to run through the prelims, semis, you had to win the final.
Anything could happen going through there.
In javelin, you just had to nail one
One throw,
throw.
yeah,
One good
again.
throw. One good throw.
One throw. So
Yeah.
I will never count out Keyshawn. Never. Never. And he's coming on. He's got some form.
Yeah, yeah. He's
He-
coming. His
last
form is
week, I
coming.
think
He did
I
a
think last
89.
week-
He did
last
a
week he-
89 about 3
Right.
weeks ago.
The other thing too, right? The 4x100 women. We have talent there. We have class. Some of the athletes are not 100%. We know that. But you know what I could say? 2012 did not finish. 2016 disqualified. Okay, let's see what's going to happen in 2021. Right? I cannot write off them women because once we get the baton across that park, or around that park, we have a chance.
How about the 4x4?
The 4x4 men, this quality.
No, I'm asking. I'm not, I'm not disputing. I'm asking you.
This
the
guy, these guys, I find it strange that there is no
you saw
mention.
you saw the guy, you saw the race, the London run yesterday at
Yes, I did. And he,
at,
Karani had
right?
to,
44 something, right?
yeah,
I
And
always.
he was running in lane 8.
yeah, right? No, lane 7, I think.
The 7 or 8?
7 or 8.
Yeah, this is 8.
But
What just now, before I say anything, close off there, Jerry Richards is only listed in the 200. I don't know if that's a typo, but it's also a discretionary thing.
so he can run any 4x4.
He
if
should be able to run because we're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 people in the relay.
Right, and they
Right,
can,
so
and
they
can
have up to
they,
6.
They can have up to 6.
Now,
Right, so-
recently, see them all pulled up in a race. We haven't
Yes.
heard anything further on that.
Well, the mere fact that he's listed here, I have to assume that he would have passed his medical.
Okay, right.
Right? Marshall Cedeno is a responsible young man. I don't think that he would pull up just for pulling up's sake. He has sponsor obligations. He would get bonuses if he wins. So the fact is, he must have been thinking his long game, and I respect that for any athlete. What is the big medal for this year? It's Tokyo.
Yeah.
You really, I mean, that changes your whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, as a Olympic medalist in track and field, that changes the way you are seen, the events that you are booked in for the next 3 years. Come on, the man have his big picture in mind, you know what I mean?
But if you look at, if you were to judge a medal by way of performance, right?
Right.
So far, right, Keyshawn appears to be a medal contender.
He does.
He's definitely a medal
Right.
contender. There's no two ways about it. I think Michelle Lee will make the finals. I think
Right.
the 4x4 team will make the finals.
Yeah, but I'm basing my assessment on
No.
the results that I've seen in the last couple of weeks leading up
Right.
to the
so,
Olympics.
So what I'm saying is, from my view, I think Keyshawn, if you make the finals, you definitely have a chance at a medal. I honestly can't see many people beating Shelly Ann in the 100. I just not seen it.
Yeah,
Even
but remember, they're still silver and bronze.
Exactly. The 4x4 will be, the American team will be difficult to beat,
As usual.
as usual. And the British team will be difficult to beat as well. So yeah, but do we have a chance at a medal? Of course. You talked about the ladies 4x1. You know, we coming up, America and Jamaica will probably, you know, do their thing. One of them will win a medal.
The Brits have a good squad as
And
well.
the Brits have a good squad. So, again, there's a chance of meddling, yes. You know, one might drop the baton. I can't see, but I ain't think all three going and drop the baton.
No. But it had races where you had 3 people dropping baton and running.
Yeah,
line
I
and
agree, but I don't
DQing,
think America...
You know, and we benefited from that.
So,
Drink some
are
more
there,
tea here.
among the athletics, is Atto incorrect in his statement? I don't think he was being harsh.
Well, okay, let me look at Atto. Atto could base his comments based on the coach's hat.
And also based on the analyst side. He is
Right.
one of the most connected. I mean, I usually take a glimpse at his Tuesday night Instagram live. He's been speaking with, I thought he'll be talking about some little raggedy fella who just win a village games. Atto speaks with the top athletes in the world every Tuesday night on Instagram. So it is a known fact that Atto is not just a well-connected, but is an intelligent analyst who knows and studies the sport that he comments on. So when Atto speaks, he speaks with authority. Atto is not the kind of partisan who is going to allow a Trinidad and Tobago flag to blur his vision. But trust me, when one of these Trinidad and Tobago athletes even make a final, you're going to hear Atto switch from Atto to Atto.
Yeah.
You're going to hear it,
Atto.
right? Because Atto, at the end of the day, chose to be a Trini. He had options to run in the States. He chose to be a Trini. He could have been a Jamaican. He chose to be a Trini. I know at the end of the day, Atto heart, bleeding red, white, and black the same way all the way on. But Atto knows he is not going to be putting himself in a position where people are going to ridicule him for that patriotic, whatever blindness that comes over you when you feel like, yeah, boy, all of a sudden, 10 days to go, we got all of them have medal chances, you know. 5 days to go, yeah, boy, we bet in that house. The fact is,
But
it's going to be difficult. But don't ever count you out.
But outside of Keyshawn and the other field events,
We didn't talk Jareem yet?
well,
We didn't talk Jareem yet?
well,
Jareem is one of the fastest Trinis to run the 100 meter this year.
Okay.
Right? So the fact is, Jareem is a legit talent in the 200, and do not count him out. Jareem just understands that he just has to win one race for the year. And that's his training program. He just has to win one race for the year. the Olympic final. So I cool with that.
But
I would like to see in coming to the other sports, I suppose, I think we can't count out
We're
Nico
going to
Paul.
other sports with 2 minutes to go in this segment. Because, come on.
130.
Come
No,
on.
I mean, it's how much.
We go jump in and that
No,
at the start of this thing. Wrap up on athletics now.
Wrap up on athletics.
But if we have to wrap up with athletics here,
Right.
I don't know. I let's look at Keyshawn, and to me, I think he's peaking at the right time.
Right. You know, we didn't talk about this guy,
Who's
Eric
that?
Harrison. He's
Right.
an American with Trini heritage, and he left the American affiliation, and he's now
Right.
running for Trinidad and Tobago in the 100. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he
And
contributes.
what's her name, the long jumper, the
Tyra,
Yes.
that's a whole. It's heartbreaking the way Tyra Gittins is not going to appear in the heptathlon.
Yeah.
She's one of the top 3 athletes in the world this year.
Yeah.
She's a real class act, but unfortunately, tough.
So quickly, if we have to let's wrap up this section here and say, where do you all see medals anywhere in track and field?
Maybe,
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's a big maybe.
maybe.
You know, you want to.
You never count them out.
You never. Yeah, I would
But
say.
ask me which one, I would say 4x4 men, 4x100 men, women, and Keyshawn Walcott.
Yeah.
I would say the
All
same
right?
thing.
Jerry making the finals, Michelle Lee making the finals.
for sure.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, they should make
And
the
if they're
final.
in the final, don't write them off. Plain talk, bad manners. Don't even write off Kellyanne. Kellyanne was running really good these days
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Don't write them off. Don't write them off.
Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk outside of the track and field because we have boxing, we have cycling, we have rowing, we have sailing.
Yeah.
You know, are we seeing any medals there?
Let's talk about that in a few minutes.
Viewers, we'll be right back after the short break. Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to Scoreboard on ACT. And if you're now joining us, we're talking Olympics 2020. I have Chris and Dennis with me. Waiting for that director coming and stop with show, boy.
I love it. I love it. You know, he pulled me up there. You know, my watered down tea. You know what I mean? It's yeah.
Yeah, your
It tastes
power.
better in this cup. I'm just saying.
And again, we're going back to the fact that CEOs just get things that the workers,
that minions don't get.
minions don't get.
Yeah.
That's
I ain't
all right.
taking it
Don't worry.
personally.
Right.
We have a paycheck for you in the mail.
Yeah, you're gonna, yeah. But you know,
But I like your point. What we were talking, all the other sports besides athletics.
Let's start at the top.
I feel
Biggest medal potential for Trinidad and Tobago.
Is Nicholas Paul.
Nicholas Paul, no doubt.
Yeah.
World record holder in the flying 200, all conditions, and he's been riding well. He has
been,
not
yeah,
had much international competition this year, but not many people have. So,
Yeah.
And then the few races that he took
looked
part
good.
in, he looked good.
he looked good.
He looked good.
Right.
And,
Yeah,
and I
he
think
got one out on Jason Kenny. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and to add to that, I think what we need to start looking at is all the guys that are going to end up in Tokyo probably have had as much international competition or probably less than. So that's going to make everybody kind of on a level playing field. I think Nico has improved his match sprinting. So qualifying is one aspect of it. But when you get in the actual one-on-one sprint, I think he has improved that. And I think that's going to go a long way. You know, the Olympic competition is difficult because the way it's set up is you qualify and then that very first sprint, if you lose, you're out. So once he gets past that, and I think he gets to the where it's best 2 out of 3, I think he'll medal. I want him to medal, and I'll say that personally.
Yeah,
I
no,
want him to
Because
medal.
we have never gotten a medal in
No, we have come
cycling.
4th with
Yeah.
Gene, and I believe we have come 4th or 5th with Roger Gibbon in the kilo, both at the kilo, and we have come 4th with Jacine in the sprints. But outside of that, so we've been close, but no cookies as yet.
Yeah, and I also want to thank the Trinidad and Tobago cycling public for supporting young Nicholas Paul in his endeavors. The TNT to Tokyo ride was a huge success, and you know, we'll have some announcements with that. But that, let me not say anything until we make those formal announcements. But I just want to say thank you very much, Trinidad and Tobago, on behalf of the athlete and his family and his support. It's really going to go a long way. And let's not also ignore that Chrissy Brown is also a very, very strong talent. And I really want to see him do well over there. It's not that I don't have confidence that he can do well. I just would like to see where he goes there.
Yeah.
If he makes it into the first round, if he makes it into the first round of the sprints, I think that would have been a hell of an accomplishment from where he started to where he is right now.
Yeah.
And it's up to him, you know.
But he's been riding the Karen well, so once he gets in the Karen competition,
right,
and he makes it to the semifinals, he'll have a good chance.
Right.
I'm hoping for that.
So moving down,
Swimming?
Of course, we spoke about Tennille Campbell.
Yeah.
You know, it's impossible to write her off with anything, but it's going to be difficult. The Dutch, the Germans, they all have very strong
English.
The English,
yeah,
well,
they'll be there.
not so much as
Yeah,
before.
the English have a strong team there going there. Australia will have a strong
Right.
team there. New Zealand will have a strong team
We have a boxer in Aaron Prince.
Right. I've never seen the guy box, so I'll have to defer to your knowledge of it.
Very determined,
Right.
right? He's fully experienced.
Okay, good.
My hope for a boxing medal was always on Michael Alexander.
Right.
I always felt that
Right.
he's going to get something.
Right.
How Prince will go through is left up to be seen. Again, we're going back based on what kind of training he had here.
Yeah, and what competition he has faced.
Well, he didn't really have any sort of competition.
Yeah,
This guy is just training. So it's to see now if he can use the training and the vast experience that he have, right?
to make progress.
And remember now in boxing, they give you two bronze medals. So he just have to, I think, win at least
I think it would be about normally
two.
It's
two
two
You
or
gotta win
three.
2 fights to
At
get to the
least.
final.
Yeah,
middle round?
To get
To the middle
that
round, yeah.
So it all depends on who.
Luck of the draw is going to play
Yes,
a big
that's
part of it.
important, right? But I wouldn't write him off.
Indeed, so.
I wouldn't write him. He's strong, right? And
I think the after that I would go down to I think swimming. We have Dylan Carter, who
And-
has definitely been showing his talent and his dedication over this last year. So
but I always look at swimming to be one of the sports that we have to be exceptional
you have to be
to win a medal.
because
When you look at the other countries,
oh yeah, the competition is
have
to be exceptional. So it's
to
going to
win
be
a
tough for
medal.
Dylan Carter
right? And
to medal.
and Cheryl Thompson, right?
And yeah.
Again, she's one fully experienced, but again, coming back to where it all started, did we do enough?
So we have a black athlete in the pool.
Yes, Cheryl
And
Thompson.
this is a perfect time to talk about soul caps.
Yes,
Why is FIDA, the world governing body for swimming,
Yes.
banning hats for people with hair like mine? Look at how much hair I have.
Yeah.
You think I could
So there
put
was a
on one
big
of them
issue with
little-
a St. Vincent swimmer. Apparently, she was using the soul cap, and they decided. And you know, it goes back to one. I had a discussion with. I've had many discussions with Brian Lewis about. We've talked at length, Brian and I, about the fact that still, despite what we see, there is a domination in terms of the thinking by world sporting bodies that is Eurocentric based. It originates from there, it's biased towards it, and we still haven't kind of embraced that worldview.
but why make issues off of a simple thing like a cap?
No, I mean, I guess what they're trying to say...
If I have a cap to fill my dread, is that giving me an advantage in the pool?
I guess what they're trying to say is that they're trying to prevent someone abusing the cap because there could possibly be a torpedo shape or some other type of hydrodynamic shape
But
that
have
will
they tested this?
give it. This is my point.
Have they tested it to see if it is actually?
These women have created a cap, and if you go on the Soul Cap website, you'll see who this thing is designed for. It's designed for athletes with hair like ours, like what you see here. What Chris have there is the alternative. I had to cut off my 21-inch dreadlocks so that I could put on a cap like what Chris would wear. Why? So yes, so FINA is now making the same types of judgments that we talked about with the marijuana issue and the cannabis issue. we don't want it being abused. The natural head shape, it's not about the head, it's the natties. We're talking about people with big, fluffy hair that operates very differently in a water scenario. If Chris hair was long and straight and flowing locks, when it get wet, all it stick down. When my hair get wet, it shrinks a little bit, it stretches out a little bit, it's have all kind of different things. Much more air inside there, so it's a whole different process for a black athlete with natural hair and plenty of it.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that, once again, we're seeing a fear, a bias by the white people who control this. And I have no problem with white people. I grew up among white people. I have white people DNA in me.
Do you see them?
I have no scene with nobody. But when you allow your white Eurocentric worldview to oppress people, that is where I have to draw the line.
Because, okay, they made a fuss about the South African runner. What's the name again?
Caster Semenya.
Right, yeah.
I'm not even going to try to
Right.
pronounce the two new.
Right.
Yeah,
And Bomba.
But you are bringing a transgender
Good lady.
athlete from New Zealand
Here where you going? Here where you going,
contest.
George?
to enter.
George, here where you going?
But come on.
I'll tell you this.
Because I would think that
We've had this, Tia and I have had endless discussion. And it began with the fact many years ago when Tay was messaging me and I was in the States, and I told him I actually had a transgender athlete that wanted to coach with me. And I had many conversations with the person. I personally have no issue with a transgender person taking part in any event, Olympic or otherwise. What we do have an issue with is the current standards by which transgender athletes are competing cannot be deemed the end-all and be-all of the regulations that allows them to compete. They obviously, it is not well thought out. It still needs more research. There is still too much blank spaces in the gaps that are not filled in, that we need to, before we can say with certainty, these rules are fair for everybody across the board. Because at this point, I would go so far as to put my neck out and say they are not.
You know, Chris, I respect everything you just said there. And I am all for anything, any male, female, or otherwise adult want to do with their life, not my business.
or anything.
But you know what, though?
A thing.
I will tell you straight up.
Yeah.
There's male, there's female, and then there's LGBTQI.
Yeah.
And if you want to be separately listed as LGBTQI, then we should wait until there is a competition category for LGBTQI.
Yeah.
If you want to compete internationally, it's either you're a man or a woman.
Yeah.
And there are mixed
Because
events.
there will be advantages for you.
It's
when you look at it, yeah,
the DNA
okay.
is obvious.
We have talked about that.
Let me say Chris is a man.
All right, let's just
Let's
make
say
that
that.
big
Let me assume he's
assumption.
a man, right?
All right, Chris
Right.
is a
And-
birth male, cisgender
Right.
male.
And
Right.
then,
M.
and then he changed to a woman,
Which
Right.
is not a big stretch.
right? But then he enters a woman event,
Right.
but he still has the strength of a man.
CC Telfer.
You still has the strength
Remember
of a
we
man.
talked
Yes,
about
yes.
CC, Craig, former? Right.
You still have the strength of a...
It
CC
isn't quite
got
as
blocked
simple as
from
that.
competing at USATF trials. Why? Because CC Telfer was allowed to compete in the NCAA competitions based on their rules,
Yeah.
but was not allowed to compete in the USATF trials based on the IOC and
Yeah.
World Athletics rules, which are very different.
Front.
Right?
Yeah.
So there is no transgender athlete competing in on track and field in the Tokyo Olympics. I could be wrong, but I believe so. The fact of the matter is the Caster Semenya rule has a specific target. Look at the athletes from Malawi, Botswana, from South Africa, I believe from Namibia, from the Dalit community in India.
They banned the two
They banned the
18-year-olds
two,
from...
right.
Right.
Right? So the fact of the matter is this has very specific targets and connotations for black African athletes from the continent.
Yeah.
Look at the list of people who are debarred from using this thing. And look at the event. You can't ban sprinters 100 meter, 200 meter, because some of those women produce as much testosterone as low-end males. So it is not about testosterone level at 100 and 200 meter. They can't go so far and be so stupid as to go and put a rule in there, because they will open up a whole can of worms. But the fact is, if you want to identify as transgender, compete as transgender. You can't be conveniently woman or female when you decide it is to your benefit. It is just not fair, right? And I've said this, and I'll say it in public now. Transgenderism, all of these other definitions are anti-woman. Block me, unfollow me, do whatever you want to do. I have my opinion. My opinion is that women athletes need to stand up and understand that allowing transgender men to women athletes means that you're not going to get a medal.
Yeah, yeah.
It's straight up.
I'll say this. I was at a competition where Rachel McKinnon, who is a transgender cyclist, but she is a master cyclist, was in the competition with us, and there were girls competing against her. And for the most part, the girls, they're competing. They're not interested, at the time of the competition, they're competing, they're racing against her, that's it. But after the competition, it was interesting to hear the back conversations about what they thought. And there's a strong undercurrent for the women athletes in particular, where they feel as if they are not being allowed to voice their opinion. And when they do, it is generally viewed as being anti-transgender or homophobic or any of the above, which it is not. Because they are looking at it, in most cases, most of them are looking at it straight as, is it fair? So the question remains, is it fair? And we are not really getting that answer. And the current rules and the current set of regulations by the IOC does not in any way make it fair. It maybe is as fair as they can make it for the time being, but I still don't think they have gotten to the level that
Is there the Paralympics? There is the Paralympics, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because although we want to respect them as human beings, the fact is, for them to compete with other people who are able-bodied
It's a
athletes.
disadvantage.
Exactly.
So it becomes the same thing
Yeah.
with the transgender.
The facts are you have an advantage, and that's just the facts, right? How come there aren't many former women fighting up to compete against the men in these events? How come there aren't any?
Exactly.
How come? Because they're not going to be competitive.
Yeah.
Gentlemen,
You're allowing men to take your medals. Do not get carried away with this.
we don't have much time again, but we still didn't mention Aisha Chow.
Aisha Chow is an amazing
Right.
woman, an
Andrew
amazing
Lewis,
athlete.
You know.
So is Andrew.
I think Andrew is in with a good chance. I think he's matured, but it's a tough event. The levels that those guys and stuff. But then
if the conditions suit Andrew, Andrew is going to be
we have the young,
in contention.
we have the young girl, is judo.
The judo.
Right.
We didn't get a lot. It was almost like she was
qualified
under the
really
radar.
Yes, yeah. So
She qualified really
I
late.
don't know
I
much,
really have much information
Yeah.
on her, but congratulations, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But from where we sit, I think we should come away with at least a medal in something.
Didn't really mention
Well,
Sherelle
what we can do-
Thompson in 50
Yeah.
but certainly,
again, as I said, with swimming is a sport that.
them American women eating.
Yes.
You know, there are a lot of.
So it's going to be tough for us, you know.
Yeah, it's hard. It's going to be
Getting
tough.
a medal.
It's gonna be
but,
tough.
I
You
think
know?
Nicholas Paul and Keyshawn, I don't know.
But what we could do, we will make a date. We'll have an after Olympic show.
Of
Yes.
course.
Yes.
Hey, wait a
And we-
minute.
and we'll
Wait,
break it
hold
down.
on. Wait. What's today? Today is we go on broadcast Tuesday night. Tomorrow night, George.
Yes.
Tune in. 95.7. Or is it 97.5? 95.7?
95.7.
95.7 FM.
No, 97.5.
97.5? We don't even know because it's so brand new. You just heard it here on Sesame Street. Chris and I, we're going on radio, man. We're back on FM.
Yeah, boy.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, we have 10 minutes to go.
10
10
minutes,
seconds.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. I want to thank you all for coming.
Hey, all the time, man.
We're going to try to do some updates with the Olympics as they go along. So I hope you all will be on standby. So
Be
we
right
can do
here,
some,
right here.
Something. Viewers, we run out of time. You see when them guy here? It's trouble, right? Tomorrow, 1 o'clock is a repeat. Saturday is another repeat. Join me next week, Tuesday, and all I could say is be safe, right? Because carry me over my
Yep,
time.
that's right.
That's when you have a good product. We go on. See you next week.
Bye, folks.
Bye, folks.
Right.